Okay? A lot of times, hygienists are usually going to have at least 4 Cavitron tips. The tips are all done differently as per numbers and nomenclature. The tips are all configured differently. Roughly the part numbers on the tips, like a P10 number, TFI 10, are going to go hand in hand with the number in one variation or another on a hand scaler. In other words, the hygienist is going to want to use a tip that she was used to in hygiene school and that she's comfortable with, that's shaped like her hand scaler tip that she learned with. Okay. Gentlemen, if these tips are put in the ultrasonic, if they're dropped and they land on the tip on the tile, if they're mistreated, they're banged against other equipment, it will bend that tip and knock that tip out of tune. And it will never do right. It will get hot, it will burn the patient. It will actually burn the hygiene, not burn and leave blisters. It will transfer heat through this handpiece and through this glove and through her glove. And think of what the patient feels. They're going to feel it on their soft tissue. Because inside this handpiece is wound coils. It's nothing but an electromagnet. Wound coils inside here. When the electricity is shot to the coils in the handpiece, it magnetizes the stacks in the fins on the handpiece, on the Cavitron tip. If we could zoom in here just a little bit, Paul, let me show you how these spread out. Can everybody see how you can spread these out? They're a series of thin metal slices held together with a piece of solder on one end. As the electricity hits them, the magnet that surrounds them in the handpiece, it causes these to cavitate and open up and magnetize against each other and chatter and cause ultrasound or cavitation. The ultrasound and the cavitration is directly transferred through a shaft right to the tip. And then that's directly transferred to the tooth surface to blast the calculus. Maintenance on tips. All tips have an O-ring on them. If you get a complaint, my Cavitron's leaking from around the tip, replace the O-ring on the tips. The O-ring does 2 purposes. It seals the water into the handpiece and only lets the water come out in a halo on the tip. And it also suspends the tip at the right tolerance between the magnetic coil in there to get optimum cavitation. If the tip's too close to one side of the coil or too close to the other side of the coil, you don't have the tolerance that the O-ring shims it, and it either gets hot, it'll either super scale, or it will just subpar performance on it. You won't have a whole lot of ultrasound. Okay? The O-rings are very important. Again, available through us, DCI, or either Chapman Hoffman. They're autoclavable up to a certain number of times. Okay? And not many hygienists know about changing the O-rings on their tips. Then again, you can be a hero again with a lousy O-ring. To diagnose a bad tip, it's very obvious. You see this one? It's broke off. Let's find another one that's broke off. There's another broken off one. It's not broken off to the same degree. You can see where it was going to come out at a 45-degree angle, like a regular H6, H7 hand scaler. See where it's broken off? It's of absolutely no use. There are companies that retip scaler tips. Beware. that retip ultrasonic scaler tips. Be careful about that. Check with Paul, me, or Eddie before you do that. Now, also, what you want to look for on the bottom end of the insert is nice straight fins. If you can see the subtle waves in that stack, see how it's wavy? Let me show it to you, Joe. See how we're wavy? Versus a healthy tip. Now what we're going to do is get a healthy tip stack, and I'll show you. Look how straight the stacks are on this one as compared to this one. Am I holding them at the right angle there, Paul? Mm-hmm. See? You want them nice and straight. Also, prime indicator is splayed out fins. By splayed out fins, extreme spaces between your fins. If you guys can observe and see how it looks fat or swollen up as compared to this one, see the bulge from here to here? That's not good. The correct cavitation depends on the spaces between these fins being observed so they cavitate freely. Do not run a Cavitron without water. It will burn up the handpiece, it will melt the windings in the handpiece, and it will actually burn the tip to a cinder. Nothing that's going to catch on fire, it's just going to be expensive. So always make sure you have plenty of coolant water through there. Dental Fix, for the benefit of all of us, we have our own tips manufactured by a very reputable company. We've had this line for a while. It is a very proven line. Very cost effective. Between a Dentsply or a U-3D tip, you're looking at a good $75 to $100 difference per Cavitron tip or insert. Good sell, easy sell. These are available at parts at dentalfixrx.com. Nothing builds goodwill and continuity of business better than chatting with the hygienist saying, listen ma'am, we make our own brand of tips and I'd kind of like you to kick the tires on that. Tell me what you think. Give her a tip. Give her a tip. That opens the door for more sales on more tips. She will also talk to her other hygienist friends and tell them that, hey, these guys have got inexpensive tips that are really good. Great way to make money. I strongly advise you get a 30K tip and a 25K tip. Call me and I'll tell you the most commonly used ones, which is going to be a T10 or a TFI 10. And we'll work with it. These are great. They're a little expensive, but they're great business builders, and it works. I've done it myself and have been with several people that have done it. So we heavily support this tip, the corporate, and I suggest you guys heavily support it too. We have a few more examples of different tip staggers. Same tip, slightly different angle. Which means one of them's been dropped or one of them's been bent. Okay? They should never sharpen the tip. You don't sharpen an ultrasonic tip. You don't want sharpness on the tip. What you want is a good transferal of cavitation surface from tip to enamel. Here is another variation on the same tip. That one hasn't been bent. That tip was manufactured that way. Each tip is going to correspond roughly with the tip on a hand scaler again. Ladies and gentlemen, these are very easy sales. This is very basic and should be in your ornamentia. You should have them readily available and show them with gusto. You will sell them because they are so cost effective. But I suggest you let them kick them around first. Gentlemen, are there any questions?
Got one.
Okay, Ryan. This is Ryan, new man up in Michigan. We're very pleased to have Ryan.
Are there any common parts? Well, you listed all the common parts, but are there some that we should just absolutely keep on our trucks that it would behoove us to just have maybe one of this, that, to have on hand?
Ryan, I'll shoot straight with you. A lot of these parts are extremely expensive. The handpiece and the cord's going to be roughly around $300 to $400. In a situation where you can get them next day air, I wouldn't suggest you write it on your inventory. You can get them next day air. Again, I stress this is not an essential item, it's a grumbly item. The hygienist will grumble. But life will go on. If the air compressor works, the doctor's still seeing patients and she's hand scaling for a day or so. Everybody eats burned toast every once in a while. Now, what you should stock, which you will get in your stock, is water line. You'll have that. This water line works in several applications, which you already know. Delivery systems, anything. Okay? You should stock a couple of quick disconnects, which I believe one or two comes with your initial stock. 0011 male QD 1/4 inch. 0012 female QD 1/4 inch DCI. That's what you should stock. If you're going to do the filter gig, stock your filters. Chris went through a lot to find these filters.
Is that the only brand of filter or style that we're quote-unquote approved to use?
Yes.
Okay. So we should not employ any other kind of filter except for that?
Except that.
Okay.
It's an easy to change filter, Ryan. Again, I said it had lure locks on it. Like if you're putting a needle on a syringe, you slightly push and turn and the needle's retained. Same way with this. It's lure lock, L-U-E-R lock. You with a medical background already knows what lure lock is. So you don't have to pull a tubing off a bar. The girls can do it in the office. However, they'll forget to turn the water off and flood the place, and they'll call you, and there you go. So when the filter is discolored, change it. Okay. And you may want to stock a couple of tip O-rings, which are available at dentalfixrx.com, or either you can look up in Chapman Hoffman or either in DCI or Parts Warehouse and get the tip O-rings. And again, guys, keep some tips with you. Keep some tips with you. You can't sell them if you ain't got them. Okay. In closing, let me also mention that we sell a couple of different brands of ultrasonic scalers here ourselves. We sell Southeastern Instruments, which is a good scaler. We also sell Bone Art. We also sell Bone Art, and we also service Cavitron brand, Dentsply brand, and we also service Bone Art and Southeast Instruments. You'll see scalers out there, ultrasonic scalers manufactured by Benco. You will see them manufactured by Henry Schein. You'll see them manufactured by Alias Smith & Jones. You'll see several different brands. They all do the same thing. They all do the same thing. It's all toward the same end, and they all service basically the same. So don't let brand difference scare you. Yes, sir.
The speaking to brand difference, the parts we get from Chapman Hoffman or DCI, RPI, whatever the case may be, are they basically universal to brand to brand to brand? as far as the components I'm going to see in that are going to be extremely similar to, let's say Benco has this type of scaler, Shine makes this kind. Am I going to be able to essentially have universal parts?
Yes.
Okay.
Most solenoids fit most scalers.
Okay.
Now the circuit boards they're not gonna adapt. You're at a board level.
Board level will be specific, but I mean
Right.
common components, are those actually truly common?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much so. Water lines, everything is common. Except the electronics. Okay.
Got it.
Your solenoids are gonna be common and everything. Most handpiece cord and assemblies are gonna be common too. If not, you can adapt them in one way or another, as long as the cord and the handpiece is rated for the scaler. 2-whip, 25K or 30K. You have to order the handpiece according to the kilohertz value of the scaler as well. Everybody uses ultrasonic scalers. Everybody has a window of opportunity here to increase revenues and to make yourself even more important to the doctor and his staff in doing this. Very easy way, very professional, very clean work. Any more questions? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, let's have a short review. If we have a printed circuit board problem, please send the machine to SER. Don't take the board out and send it to SER. We need the machine, the whole machine, as well as the board, so we can see how the board works in correlation to the rest of the machine and confirm a bad board diagnosis. Okay? Thank you very much, and happy selling and happy repairing. Please, any questions can be fielded to Paul or myself. Have a good day.